Pay attention to this man walking into a conservatory in Essex, England, April 7th, 2023. Early evening, he's carrying a tray, 3 glasses filled with brown liquid. Health drinks, he calls them. A special liver detox he researched just for them. See that couple sitting in those armchairs? That's Carol and Stephen Baxter, 61 years old, retired, living their dream on the coast. Watch how they reach for those glasses. No hesitation, complete trust. That man is Luke DeWitt, 33 years old, the neighbor they've welcomed like a son for nearly a decade. Look closely at that 3rd glass, the one he keeps for himself. Luke is smart. He knows how this works. You can't offer poison without drinking 2. That would raise suspicion. So he made 3 drinks, 2 with poison, 1 without. Watch him bring his glass up, not drinking, just performing, playing the part. See that chuckle? That's not warmth. That's satisfaction. They laugh back. They have no idea. In 2 hours, they'll be dead in those chairs, sitting exactly where they are right now, and Luke will be at home watching it happen on his phone. To understand the magnitude of what was stolen that Easter Sunday, you need to know who Stephen and Carol Baxter really were. Carol and Stephen Baxter were living the retirement they had earned. Carol, 61, had built a successful bathroom accessories business. Stephen, also 61, had spent his career in corporate risk management. Together, they'd bought a waterfront home on Mersey Island, joined the yacht club, and settled into coastal life. Their daughter Ellie lived nearby. But Carol's health had been deteriorating. Hashimoto's disease brought crushing fatigue and brain fog. Her behavior grew erratic. She'd forget things, seem unlike herself. The family watched helplessly as Carol faded, visiting specialist after specialist. Stephen stood by her, devoted, willing to try anything. What no one realized was that Carol wasn't just sick. She was being poisoned by someone sitting in their living room drinking tea with them 3 or 4 times a week. That person was someone the Baxters had welcomed into their home with open arms, never seeing the danger hiding behind his awkward smile. Luke DeWitt was 33 and lived with his mother just streets away. He'd graduated with a computer science degree but never launched a career. He spent his days gaming, attending Comic-Con, living in a bedroom he shared with his mother. To everyone who knew him, Luke was harmless, awkward, quiet, odd, but harmless. He volunteered at soup kitchens. Gym members described him as supportive and encouraging. Former friends said Luke having a girlfriend would have been more shocking than the murder charges. The Baxters saw him as a lonely young man who needed kindness. When Luke's father died of cancer in 2021, their empathy deepened. They welcomed him further into their lives, never imagining what was hiding behind that shy, helpful exterior. The tragedy is that Stephen and Carol's deaths weren't random. They were the result of a relationship built over nearly a decade, one that gave Luke unprecedented access to every corner of their lives. Luke had first started helping the Baxters around 2013 when they hired him to design a website for Carol's business. The relationship grew. Luke became a fixture, dropping by unannounced, staying for hours. After his father's death in 2021, Luke decided to get healthier. Carol invited him to join her gym. They became workout partners. Luke was attentive, supportive, bringing her special drinks he said would boost her energy. Energy bombs, he called them. The Baxters jokingly called him their mixologist. By 2022, Luke was deeply embedded in their lives. He organized Carol's medications. He knew their schedules. He had access to their home, their routines, their vulnerabilities. They trusted him completely. What they didn't know was that Luke had begun constructing an alternate reality around them, built on lies so elaborate it would take investigators months to unravel. What happened next wasn't a crime of passion or a moment of rage. It was calculated, methodical, and spanned nearly 2 years of systematic manipulation and poisoning. Sometime in 2021, Luke began poisoning Carol, slowly, small doses, enough to worsen her Hashimoto's symptoms, make her desperate for help. Then Luke provided that help. Dr. Andrea Bowden, an endocrinologist in Florida who specialized in thyroid conditions. Carol and Stephen corresponded with Dr. Bowden regularly, trusting her advice, following her recommendations. Dr. Bowden didn't exist. Luke had created her, one of more than 20 fake identities he would use to manipulate the couple. There was Cheryl, someone Carol could confide in. Linda, another patient who sent threatening messages. Jenny, a theater producer who could help their daughter Ellie. Police later found recordings of Luke practicing speaking in a feminine voice, rehearsing lines. Luke was texting Carol, Stephen, and Ellie as different people simultaneously, weaving a network of fictional relationships so dense the Baxters never questioned if these people were real. In February 2022, Carol was hospitalized with a tack in her abdomen. Doctors were baffled. Investigators later found boxes of identical tacks in Luke's bedroom. By early 2023, Carol's condition had worsened significantly. That's when Luke introduced Dr. Alan Mandel, who recommended a liver detox program. Luke convinced both Carol and Stephen to participate. On Friday, April 7, 2023, Luke arrived at the Baxter home in the evening. He prepared drinks containing promethazine and a synthetic opioid likely obtained from his father's cancer treatment patches. As Carol and Stephen lost consciousness in their conservatory armchairs, Luke used Carol's iPad to transfer 6,000 pounds. He placed a forged will naming himself director of Carol's business. Using an app called iHeartCam, he turned a device into a surveillance camera, set it up, and photographed them motionless. The timestamp read shortly before 8 p.m. Then Luke left. Ring doorbell footage captured him returning moments later, staring at his phone. He wasn't checking messages. He was watching. From home, Luke sat and watched Stephen and Carol Baxter die in real time. What Stephen and Carol experienced in those final hours is something that haunts everyone who's learned about this case. They would have felt it slowly, the drowsiness. Carol, already exhausted, might not have thought much of it. Stephen, beside her in their favorite room, felt it too, the warmth, the weight, the pull towards sleep. The synthetic opioid worked quickly. Their breathing slowed, became shallow. Their bodies relaxed completely. There was no panic, no struggle, no awareness. This wasn't just sleep. They sat together side by side in the place they felt safest as the poison stopped their hearts. Luke watched it all. Phone in hand, surveillance feed glowing. He saw them slump, saw them stop moving. He waited, watched, made sure. When certain they were gone, he turned off the camera and went to bed. The Baxters sat undiscovered through Saturday through Easter Sunday morning. Not until Sunday afternoon did Ellie, worried, after 2 days of unanswered calls, drive to the house and find them, still, silent, gone. When Ellie called Luke, he arrived within minutes, breathless, playing the devastated family friend. Together they broke a window to get inside, though Luke already knew what they'd find. First responders found a peaceful scene. No violence, no forced entry. Police initially suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. Here's what happened when police arrived. Listen to Luke's performance.
Jesus! And you say you last saw them on Friday?
Friday. I got home just before 8, so that's when I left. And me and Steve were just talking about work and just the business, because Carol can't work anymore.
Yeah.
Last year she's not been able to do anything.
Okay.
So we're just having a chat, but he didn't really feel up to it and just
Fair enough.
asked me to go. So
That's fair enough.
I was going to come back tomorrow and
just check on them again.
use the gym, and I'm used to checking on. I always pop in. Because they wanted this weekend, Easter weekend.
Just left them to it.
So with me, I was out with those two last night. Took them for dinner for Eddie's birthday, and Steve's mum, Irene, who lives in London, was worried that she wasn't answering her calls either.
Right.
Which again isn't unusual. They want time away.
Yeah.
But because we were concerned, me, Ellie, and Marcus drove past here. Half 6, 7 last night.
Okay.
Just to make, we're all worried. But because we saw the blinds are down and the light was on,
you thought,
they're doing what they want. They've got their weekend. Lights are on. They're just ignoring us. All cool.
Okay.
So then Eddie called me this morning, and I was always. I think we're both a bit uneasy.
Yeah, as you would be. Understandable.
And Eddie popped by first, saw the blinds were still down, immediately panicked. I was meeting them anyway, but Marcus called me and just given that they're in the chairs, they're not moving, you're not replying. So I literally ran from home to
here to come check.
To here.
Okay.
And just as I got here, they just smashed the back window
to get in. Okay, fair enough. So you last saw them alive on Friday. Cool. And have you seen them today? Did you go in to see them yourself?
I have been in there, yeah.
You have? Okay.
And I went upstairs, the paramedic asked me to get all of Carol's medication that she's got a look. Because sometimes she'll have various things over the years and for various operations she's had. So I went upstairs and got anything that I thought looked like a tablet drawer downstairs and put it in a brown box for the paramedic. I don't know if any of it's valid, but I know Carol.
That's right. Yeah, they like to know what people take, gives them an idea as to what they suffer
you don't
from.
know what
she's actually taken.
Because quite often she might take, she has every morning levothyroxine, but sometimes she forgets that she could take it 6 or 7 times. I know that's that, but I mean, she doesn't know. Or
she doesn't know she's taken it loads of times.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's all we need to know for now. Yeah. We'll be in contact again, I'm sure, in the near future. But yeah, I really appreciate your time, and obviously very sorry for what's happened. Yeah.
Luke gathered Carol's medications at paramedics' request. He told police he'd last seen them Friday evening around 8. Everything about his behavior seemed appropriate, grief-stricken but cooperative. No one suspected him. Listen to the 999 call.
So I need to come outside. It's their daughter, you can hear. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So I'm organising help you now. Just stay on the phone with me. So just tell me exactly what's happened from what you know, please, just so we can all go to the best day. Well, we just turned up to the house, and we hadn't really heard from anyone for about a day and a half. So we came round, and their daughter got here first, and I think they got around to the back, sort of through their conservatory that they were sitting in their armchairs, not moving. And we smashed the window to get in.
But Luke's perfect performance wouldn't hold up under scientific scrutiny. When the toxicology reports came back, his entire story fell apart. The toxicology reports came back weeks later. Both had lethal doses of synthetic opioid in their systems, extremely uncommon in the UK. Carol also had high promethazine levels. This was murder. Essex police investigated. They discovered the 6,000-pound transfer from Carol's iPad, the forged will. When they searched Luke's home in July, they found 80 electronic devices used to create fake identities. The cancer patches from his father, opened medicine capsules, boxes of tacks, and the photograph on Luke's phone. Stephen and Carol, slumped in their chairs, taken the evening they died. Police arrested Luke in July, 3 months after the murders. Luke's trial began February 2024 at Chelmsford Crown Court. He arrived in a wheelchair, claiming illness. He refused medical records. The Crown argued he was faking for sympathy. His defense was as delusional as his crimes. Luke claimed the fake identities weren't nefarious at all. He argued that Stephen Baxter had been in on the plan, that Stephen had directed the entire scheme to deceive Carol, believing it would somehow help her mental and physical health. Luke said he just handled the logistics, the phones, the messages, the emails. the evidence told a different story. Messages between the fictitious characters and Stephen proved there was no way he could have been part of the deception. Stephen had been just as much a victim as Carol. The jury saw through every lie. After deliberation, they convicted Luke DeWitt on 2 counts of murder.
Today, Luke DeWitt has been given a life sentence and will serve a minimum of 37 years in jail. However, it is simply impossible to put a number on the lives of Carol and Stephen. They were loving, generous parents, and they touched lives of many. They are entering a period in their lives where they should have been able to enjoy precious time with their grandchildren. They should have been planning holidays, looking forward to spending Christmases with family and living their lives to the full. Luke DeWitt took all that away in April 2023. He tried to cover it up. He went to great lengths to blame others who we know were not involved in any way. He clearly enjoyed the control he exerted over people, especially Carol and Stephen. Ultimately, the only person in this world who knows why he did this is Luke DeWitt, and he has proven time and time again to be a manipulator. What we do know is the significant sentence handed down is entirely fitting for the pathological liar that he is. For almost a year, we have been determined to secure justice in its entirety, and today marks the conclusion of one of the most complex investigations undertaken at Essex Police. 37 years in prison is a significant time, and there will not come a point where he has spent more than his life in jail than not. Today, though, it's not about Luke DeWitt. It's about Carol, Stephen, and it's about their family. We know nothing will bring Carol and Stephen back. We know nothing can give the family back their loving mother, sister, and grandmother, or their generous father, brother, and grandfather. However, I truly hope this sentence is of some comfort to the family.
Prosecutor Tracy Ailing, KC, called the murders sadistic. Detective Superintendent Rob Kirby said Luke was one of the most dangerous men he'd encountered. Had he not been caught, he would have gone on to kill further people. Justice Lavender sentenced Luke to life with a minimum of 37 years. The judge stated Luke's true motivation was a desire to control others. Luke showed no remorse, just the same blank expression he'd worn while watching 2 people who loved him die. The Baxter family will never recover. Ellie lost both parents, then learned the person comforting her had murdered them. Mercia Island residents discovered the helpful neighbor was a predator. Evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives with a smile, an offer to help, and a cup of tea. Stephen and Carol Baxter should have been enjoying retirement, growing old together. Instead, their lives were stolen by the person they tried hardest to help.